celebrate every moment.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Talk about your work as with the presidential candidate of the APC. So you said you know him personally. Most of us have just read about him. But the entire set that worked with him on his cabinet as governor are doing amazingly. Let's talk about how much he's mentored people and how many young people is he presently mentoring. So we're looking towards having younger people in his cabinet if he becomes president.
Yes, you can look forward to that. You know, Ashwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a talent hunter. So he has a way of just, you know, identifying people who can do what. And he's still on record that he is the crop of commissioners and other people who work with him, particularly in 1999 and 2003. I think you know, it was the best in this country from accounts of different people. So he has that ability and beyond. And he's been doing that up to now. He has so many people that I just mentioned to you that earlier, that a lot of people come to him to seek mentorship, to seek guidance, to seek for his opinion and advice, you know, on a number of issues. So is that blessed?
Okay. So for me, the relationship that most Nigerians, the average, don't know this person one-on-one, the presidential candidate for APC. And many of us are having to take what social media feeds us as our source of information. And social media has consistently shown a part of him not being very physically fit and him not being very healthy. And I have said on the show, I'm worried about that personally, because I don't have any other way to verify if he's healthy or not. But I've been hoping that when I get an opportunity to ask questions from someone who has a one-on-one relationship with him, I can hear from someone that how fit is he? Is he someone that, is he, based on your own relationship, can he handle the responsibilities of leading a challenged country like Nigeria?
Well, the first question is, who determines the fitness of an individual?
Doctor?
Yes, he's a doctor. I'm a medical doctor. So, there is what we call spot diagnosis, you know, where you just look at a patient and then without even asking questions, without even doing any physical examination, and without taking any history, you just say this. So, for me, I think reasonably, he's fit enough to handle the job before him. Because, yes, much as I believe that, yes, there is need for some physical energy as well, but you probably need more of a mental energy to cope, because you are being bombarded with all sorts of things, the documents, you know, opinions and all that, and which you need to sit down to analyze and be able to take what you think is the best in the circumstance.
So my question is, there was a sort of media party that he had, and questions were asked of him, and with him, beside him were, you know, a few other individuals with him who also helped to answer that question, some of the questions, or give their opinions as well. And there were two sides to the response. I'd like to know, being a party man has been in government, where it seems that, you know, he's willing to involve other people in decision-making and taking out policies. Is this a man who works best with other people? And how important is that sort of strategy as the president of a country?
Well, you know, as a president, as a governor, as the overall boss, you take the final decision.
Yep.
But what is important is to be able to process, analyze what you have been fed with. Because the buck passing stops at your table.
Right.
That's the thing. And I always say that, you see, it's only one person, as far as I'm concerned, that is elected as the chief executive at the state and at the federal level. Because every other person, and I repeat, every other person is nominated by that person. That's what the Constitution says, you know. And I believe what is important is that ability to make the right decision at the end of
Thank you
it.
so much, Senator. I mean, it was a pleasure. We'd like to have you longer, but as I said, we have 2 big guests today, so we have to find a way to manage the time. But thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us this morning. We're definitely going to bring you back because we would like to monitor what the Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation is doing. As Nima has said, we're not very happy with what we've seen so far, but we hope that we can see much better as you still retain that position. That's
Well,
all.
Thank you very much. I can assure you that, God willing, we will finish strong and finish well as well in the ministry.
I'm sure you use a phrase politicians use. Let's go on a break. When we come back, bring in our special guest, another special guest we have. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
We don't like to eat better. More nutritious meals, more veggies. We want it tastier. Chicken, parsley, and garlic. And enriched with iron, so your meals are better for you and more delicious too. That's the cocoa. Let's give it some accolades. Change your world by changing what's on your plate.
As an MC, I need to walk the talk. It's a walk I've walked many times. It's okay, everyone. Nothing's well. Before, these tough stains would stay on my clothes, and all the scrubbing, it would fade my colors. But thanks to Ariel Color Expert, nothing's well.
It lifts the toughest stains, keeping your clothes bright, wash after wash.
O'Shea, Ariel Color Expert. Let's get this party started.
New Ariel, 5 times Color Protect Power.
Action.
Heartburn and indigestion? Try Gestede. My recommendation for the past 26 years, Gestede. Reliable remedy for heartburn, indigestion, flatulence, and acidity.
Every healthy family needs the right amount of energy to start their day, but sourcing for breakfast with a splendid blend of nutritious multigrains? Big wahala. With the new Kellogg's Gold Grain cereal, you don't have to go through all of that. So now, you're more...
Go, 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 Gold Grains. Love the goodness of its multigrains. Grain sets go! With protein and creamy tasty Kellogg's Gold Grains. Grain sets go!
With vitamins and minerals in Kellogg's Grains.
Grain sets go!
Kellogg's Gold Grains is a breakfast cereal fortified with vitamins and minerals from the goodness of multigrains like maize, guinea corn, rice, and soya. Kellogg's Gold Grains.
Grain sets go! Breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Our country want better. Nigeria want better. Who go do one for us? Yeah, so people of Nigeria, they jolly for the better we want shele for we country. So as they ready to vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the next president of Nigeria, I ain't get the experience where you go fit use take make our country better. People of Nigeria, for this and many other better things when in don't vocalize, it good make we all vote Asiwaju Bola Tinubu for president of Nigeria. Kashif Shettima as vice president. Vote APC. You we need
The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. The part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts.
Joining us on the show now is the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu. He'll be speaking on why the people of Lagos State should entrust him again with their mandate. Basically, welcome to the show.
You know how it is.
Happy New Year.
We're happy to have you. So there's so much to talk about, so we're going to go straight into it. Your themes agenda was what we started with, and everybody was excited about transportation and what you wanted to do. I would like to start with transportation, especially because that's a major issue we have in Lagos State. People flocking into Lagos every single day. We don't understand how to manage this influx of Nigerians using the bus, the taxis. You've recently launched the rail. People are still saying it's not enough. So what is your government doing to help improve transportation across the state?
Okay, well, thank you very much, ladies, and Happy New Year once again.
Happy New Year to you.
And Happy New Year to all of your viewers. Well, so I decided to make it a bright morning for you and for our citizens. You know, it's a day in which we have a holiday, and I think there's no better time for me to have the audience and also listeners. Very much for having me. So you started very well. You know, transportation, right, which happens to be the first pillar in our team's agenda. You know, it was something that we designed out of questions from our audience during, you know, our campaign and after we won the election. So it's not something that just fell on us. Right. And you could see that it was also the ones that people had asked us the most, you know, challenging issue to solve. So it's traffic management and transportation. So to date, in terms of transportation and what has been our direct interventions in that space, right? High capacity buses, which are called the BRT, the high-end buses, we've introduced about 1,300. You know, the medium capacity, we've introduced almost about another 1,000. The last mile buses, which are like the bigger version of Korokwe, 8, 10-seater, we've introduced about 500. And also taxis, we've introduced, you know, the lag ride, which is about another 1,000. So these are just interventions in straight, you know, road infrastructure, right? And it's road infrastructure that we see, you know, as the ones that all of us usually apply today. But you know that 1/3 of Lagos is also water. So the question we'll ask is how well can we use the water infrastructure as a means to move people from one point to the other? The good news is that we're currently constructing, and we've actually finished 8 of those jetties. We're constructing 16 jetties concurrently. Wow. Right? So they are like small terminals, right? Which, you know, people can embark and disembark. And about 8 of them have been completed. So we just need time to go and commission and just cut tape and so that we can open it up for people. So that is meant to improve movement on the waterways. But we're not sitting back just to wait, you know, for that completion. We've added about 22 ferries. 22 ferries meaning they are carrying 60 passengers, 50, 40 in fairly big capacities like that. Right. I think more of the 40 and 32. Right, so we've done intervention as well, and we've opened up. I opened the first, what you can call the first, you know, security command and control center on the waterways, where we have CCTV cameras. Yeah, it's there. Where we have CCTV cameras, we have equipment that can remotely go and pick people from the water, because security. So
if I'm on the water, you can see me.
If there's an emergency and you drop, we have equipment. We've bought equipment. They can remotely go. They are like a ball, but they can drive on their own without anybody, and they can go and rescue you, you know, and bring you back. It was launched about 2 weeks ago, right? And we have the command and control center at Falomo. And we've done fairly enough dredging. We'll need to still do, you know, a bit more. That's number 2. Then the third one is the rail that you talked about. So the plan, you know, for public transportation is we'll have what we call an integrated urban mass transportation system. Integrated urban using rail, using waterways, and using the BRT road infrastructure. All of those 3 connections are completed, right? What you will see is that we will have an interplay of a single solution of payment, the cowrie card, right? We went on the train when we did infrastructure card will open up. At the lag ferry is the cowrie card they're using. On the buses as well is the cowrie card they're going to. So it's a single payment solution designed by young Nigerians, Lagosians, and we're seeing it is working very, very well. So the plan eventually is to be able to reduce journey time. You know, Tokwe, is to ensure that you as a mother, you can fairly predict your journey. A journey that hitherto will probably take you about an hour and a half or something. How can we reduce it to 30, 40 minutes?
We have a lot of
so that you can improve the quality of your life. You know, you can pretty much determine when you need to get out and when you need to come in, right? And also to make Lagos in a resilient urban, working city for all of you, right? Maybe we're not firm. We have a clear vision. We have a walkthrough that will take us there.
So I live on Badagry Express.
Absolutely, I know.
And so I've seen all your work. I don't have anything to complain about, but just a little, because it's not just there yet.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for what you've done. I remember the state it was in when you came in and when you visited and promised, and it's been delivered, especially at the trade fair where my community enters and goes into the express. But I see the work going on, and I see so many other factors affecting it, especially Nupeng's activities there. Constantly, because they need to access the depot, are locked in.
Yeah.
How do you plan to subsequently manage that? This past month has been neck deep in stress for us living in that community. Also, on that Badagry Expressway, I'm aware that from the Eric Moore to Okoko is the Lagos State out. Yes, they're building the bridges overhead, but we need the ramps, like you have on Ikorodu Expressway, where you're going, maybe your community is just 2 steps ahead, you can exit.
I understand.
So what exactly is the plan? We've spoken with the SAA, and she insists that the design is different.
No, okay.
I live there, I think it's not practical.
Well, okay, thank you very much. And thank you for the comments you said. So the plan around that corridor, right, is to continue to improve, apart from the right of way, so it's a road that either towards 4 lanes, 2 lanes, that we have turned to 10 lanes, 10 lanes, right? So you can see it's more than double the number, right? And so the plan is to have 1 BRT corridor, have 1 lane for BRT, the most inward lane, have 2 express road, then I have 2 outer road, right? So on the bypass you're talking about, if, for example, you are coming in from Eric, you know that at some point in time, before you get to Festac or wherever it is you're going to tee off, make sure that you will leave the express road and go on the service lane. It's when you're on the service lane that you can now get out. If you come out from Festac and you're going to be coming out at Agboju again, why would you want to enter the express road? Stay on the service lane and just continue to go until when you get to Agboju or you get to Trade Fair. One of the challenge, and I understand where she's coming from, is that she wants to get on the express, right? And she wants to exit because it's express, it's 2 lanes. But she wants to also exit at her own convenience. Road transportation is also not designed like that. It cannot be when express is express. Right? If I want to do 40 kilometers, I'm on express. Let me fly the express for at least 35 kilometers before I get on the service lane. But if I'm going to do 2.5 kilometers, I shouldn't get on the express. And imagine that when I want to get out, it will be available for me to get. I understand.
You see, I was smiling.
Yes.
Because what makes me want to stay on the express is not my fault.
I understand.
It's the Apapa activity.
And I will get to it. Because so which one should we solve first? Do you understand? So what is called an express cannot be access to everybody and anybody at every, because they are moving fast. They want to get to, Agbara and begin to go to Badagry faster and quicker, and that's what we promise. But if you are moving from, from Festac to Agboju to Satellite Town to this, you cannot. But I understand the challenge. The challenge which you talked about is Nupeng, for example. Yeah. We're sitting with NNPC. Okay, so this is a challenge. Which one should we follow? That corridor strategically feeds about 65% of the total fuel corridor of this country. That's where you have all the tank farms there. I didn't create it, right? It's a national issue that we really cannot, and that's why, if we look at it, we didn't wait for federal government. That Buba Marwa road that I'm doing is cost us close to 10 billion, right? This is a federally used road by all of the tankers that she's talking about. And they will not even allow, because we're waiting for concrete. The concrete is like this, that we're trying to finish up for them. So that will be some sort of a continuous conversation that we need to have with NNPC. We don't control Nupeng. So they will tell you that if you don't give them access as well, there won't be fuel in Auchi. There won't be fuel in every part of the country. So it's something that we need to continue to solve and dialogue upon. But to say to you, Nima, I know you need a lot of bypass roads, in that Ojo. So Iru, Mosafejo, and all of it, we're doing Afro Media, we're continuing to do those inner roads so that you can indeed have relief, not just on the express road. We'll finish, Navy Town Road very soon. We're on Old Ojo Road, so that we can have alternative. So like the one you're talking about, if you don't need to go on the express road, go on Old Ojo Road, and it's long. It's a couple of like 6-7 kilometers, and we're doing it. The phase 1 of it is CC, and they've started. So you could see solution that were thought through, and it's happening, and we're going to do.
Let's talk with John because there's so many questions and we have to use this 1 hour.
So many.
So go ahead.
One, I need to appreciate what you've done in Ekpe. For all of us in the real estate space, your video is our biggest marketing tool. We just show your video and people start buying, and we have to appreciate that. But whenever I'm going to Ekpe, it is war. Yeah. And it's been a very, very, in the past 2 years, two challenges that has been going on. One, a lot of people are coming into this country, into Lagos, and they become beggars on the road. So you're stopping along that Lekki axis just for traffic light, and they just gather you. They are not criminals, but they are begging. And there's a way, you know, it's just inhuman for a human being to just leave them on the road like that. I believe that there's an industry around them because they come there, children, babies, all of that. And it can pose a potential risk in the future. So I want to find out from you, what is Lagos State's plan to reduce the number of mothers and children that are allowed to be on the road begging? That for me is a major question. Let me just...
I thought you were going to talk about traffic.
And then the traffic on the road.
So I thought he was actually good. Because he said Ekpe.
Yes.
So let's take it back.
Yes.
And Tokwe, let's be analytic about it. So we've done an 18-kilometer road from Eleko Junction to Ekpe.
I see it.
2 lanes, we've turned to 6 lanes. Nema, they will not tell you. Rigid pavement. 2 lanes
No, I've seen it,
to 6 lanes. Highest ever level of concrete. That's phase 1 of it, completed. The phase 2 of it now starts from Eleko Junction. We're coming all the way to Aja. It's 33 kilometers. We're turning it into 6 lanes as well. And they see contractors there working. She said a few things. It's the highest real estate development corridor that we cannot even keep abreast with. You know, so when you have all of those challenges, right, to solve them, right, it becomes Herculean because as we are laying the solutions, right, other things are coming. So we are the bane of our own, you know, successes. Each time we are succeeded, we're attracting a lot more people onto this corridor, you know, and so that's what you see. So Tokwe saw that indeed the roads are beginning to get widened up, right, and we're doing a 10-kilometer regional road, which is a bypass from VGC all the way to Freedom Road, right? 6 lanes. We're not doing 1, 2, 3 lanes, 6 lanes. We're taking it head on just for us to be able to solve it, right? So those are some of the things that we're doing on the infrastructure. And the big one, which we promised Nigerians, Lagosians, we're going to announce before the end of the year, was on the 30th, which is the 4th mainland bridge, which will start from your corridor as well, from Abraham Adesoya all the way, climbing the bridge, you know, to Ikorodu, you know, and to sort of like solve like an M25 solution. That's the concept, and I think it's important for us to have. But she had questions, you know, which is closer to Lekki phase 1 and phase 2 on issues around, you know, women and children on the street. So it's a double that Nigerians, these are your citizens that are looking for sustenance, that are looking for livelihood on a daily basis. I tell you, we go clear them almost every week, but they find themselves there. So is the solution for me to say that I want to pack them to another part of the country? No. The solution is we continue to build additional homes, you know, and continue to give them solutions where they can become useful to their family, you know, train them, see how we can take them up and give them skills, you know, so that they become, you know, providers of jobs themselves. Right. That's the solution. It's a national issue. And you don't need a visa to come into Lagos. So it's not me that have created that inclusion.
When we come back, we continue this conversation with our guests. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
They said I was a prostitute. That what responsible woman will leave her home and her children and try to lead? You want to lead us? Who do you think you are? They said. I wish the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill was passed. I wish the 35% affirmative action was implemented. I wish women had equal opportunities to aspire and to contribute to society.
place and it brighten. I make everybody they wonder. Waiting me cause all the shine. Lush hair. Long hair or short doesn't matter. Crochet or dreadlocks can be better. Only for girls when
people know how to make an impression, and that's why they only trust Lush Hair Extensions to bring out the shine in them. Lush Hair, be beautiful.
Nanga Def Africa, live in Senegal, the electrifying performance of the Teranga edition of the biggest music event in Africa, the 8th All-Africa Music Awards, Afrima, in partnership with the African Union Commission and the government of the Republic of Senegal, from January 12th to the 15th at Dakar Arena and the Grand.
It's Friday, January 13th, 2023 is a platform for music business networking and interaction.
Friday, January 13th from 6 p.m. at Afrima Music Village, an evening of non-stop music concert with live broadcast and energetic performances from nominees and global African music mega superstars at the Grand Theatre, Dakar.
Sunday, January 15th comes with all the glitz and glam from Africa's music superstars, celebrities, and international personalities at Afrima Award. Live red carpet starts at 4:30 p.m. Awards live to 84 countries starts at 7:30 p.m.
For free registration and invitation, visit www.afrima.org.
Afrima, Africa is coming.
It's a new dawn for Nigeria. Oh, better days are coming. Better days that gives us hope and strength.
It's a new dawn in Nigeria. The firmament portents a bright future as the people of Nigeria move to vote a man whom they have come to trust. That man is Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Vote Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC.
Bring the smiles back to all Nigerians.
Life is self-expression in your own space, in your own way. And when you've got your whole life ahead of you, your style simply becomes your attitude. And at the right time, you step out to bring more of you right into your space. Welcome to the world of Vento Furniture.
Season's greetings. Think home, think Vento Furniture.
At TVC News, stories.
Thanks. We still have Mr. Governor of Lagos State with us as our guest. Miriam was going to ask a question. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Governor, so I know that you're a viewer of our show, and I don't know if you are aware of how passionate I am about our environment.
Okay.
Yes. So I would like to know what your plans are concerning, waste management. I know that in 2019 you talked about the landfills and the amount of waste we get. Like you said 10,000 tons of waste.
About almost 12, 14.
Fantastic. And we also know that in waste there's money. And I'm wondering if you have done anything in that area since. We know that Loma is doing a lot of work. Yeah. We can see the improvement in, going around and getting the waste off our streets. Yeah. But when it gets to the landfills, what are we doing with that and the value chain?
Thank you.
That?
Well, thank you, Miriam. And that speaks to also the issues around climate change and all of the things that we can solve. So as a mega city, we generate between 12 to 13,000 metric tons of waste every day, largely domestic waste. Some are industrial waste, but largely, domestic waste. And you're right. A lot of people will tell you there's money in waste, which we are beginning to see. There's a lot of sorting that is happening, that people are doing recycling, but it still hasn't answered the huge number of opportunity that is there. These are investments that I believe the private sector can indeed take on. And we've seen a few people come up, right? But they never finish through. I'm actually I'm actually waiting for somebody that has the funding that is required to do the end of waste conversion. We've done waste to fertilizer in the state before, right? Organic fertilizer, right? It became unsustainable for them because even for them, the cost of a fertilizer when it finished, was even more expensive than the regular one. I've seen people come to me and say they want to do waste to power. And I'm saying, great, I'm ready to give you, 3,000, 2,000 metric tons, right? but you cannot say that I must, by extension, buy, whatever. You want me to give you, a power purchase first before you even come up with a thing. Yeah. I don't have a problem with evacuating the power when you finish it, right? But I'm not going to start with giving you a PPA even before you show me what your funding is, right? And that's where usually the problem is. Because with my PPA, what it does is that you just go everywhere in the world and you just get funds in which. Exactly. So we've seen a few challenges like that. And that's why we're here saying that if we see real people that have a funding, it's a long-term thing. We're ready to ensure that we transfer the waste that you require to whatever location you need them, so that we can indeed convert this waste to where it is. A lot of people, they are, but it's just that the numbers are still not huge enough. And for us, the interventions that we've done is that we're building a lot of small, collection centers. We're doing about 6 of them, so that we can reduce and we can compact them more before they even get to the sanitary landfill and get them a lot more. Well, you are right. You've seen all our interventions with Loma. We've procured a lot more compactor trucks, dyno beams. We've improved them. What they look like outside. So, but the final end of it, government can really not do everything, in terms of even trying to get myself to become, a waste converter expert. Let the private sector come. The waste are there. Metric your yellow bottles in put them in different combats so that it becomes a lot easier for the private sector to want to take.
Let's talk about education for a moment, because I know that that's an area you've invested quite a bit. I mean, I hear that your education budget in Lagos is larger than a few states' entire budget. I mean, it's incredible. Could you give us an idea or breakdown what you've done? Because I know you've done basic education. Some are worried about what you're doing in tertiary. They're not really sure, especially even the vocational schools. They're not clear. They hear Eco-Excel, but what else is going on with the educational sector?
Okay, so thank you. So you're right. Year on year, we've deliberately increased our budget in education.
It's amazing.
Because we believe that that is one intervention in one area that we need to show, real sustainability. I think that last year we did about between 11 and 12% of our total. So to date, in infrastructure, we've built over 1,047 new classrooms in less than 4 years. Over 1,047 new classrooms, right? So we've touched, about 197 new school projects. And we've touched close to 1,000 different things in schools. We've added about 200,000 new chairs and benches. We've done about almost 2,000 new bed spaces in the boarding schools. We've also intervened, in all of the, vocational schools and the likes that you have. But for me, the interesting one is what we've done with primary schools, which is where we started, which is where education truly really should start. And I'm sure, Moral, which is where Eco-Excel starts from. So what we've done, is that we've been able to, have tablets that are given to teachers at primary schools for them to have the same learning curriculum, right, at that level. And, even teachers not coming, we can remotely monitor them and see who is teaching what. And the quality of teaching across primary schools, we make them almost the same. It doesn't matter what part of the state you are. So those are interventions. And we've seen growth in the number of people coming back to our primary schools. We've actually seen, growth in the number of people coming back to our primary schools.
From private schools?
From private schools or from whatever. I mean, that's one. Secondly, in our secondary schools, which is also a place where it's important for you to hold them and ensure that you can handheld them. We've started the comprehensive school system. Comprehensive schools meaning that you can be in a school where it's not just the brick and mortar normal education that you're being. You want to teach you skills around entrepreneurship, things around music, things around acting, cookery. Make sure that you're coming out with a rounded knowledge, of what you want your comprehensive school. So we have, over 6,000 teachers that have been recruited. And we're not just doing it for pupils. We're also ensuring that we can keep our teachers in classrooms, which is always one of the problems. Because once they see something, they want to go into other professions. And how have we been able to do that? Retain them, ensure that we can identify the best teachers every year, give them skills, train them very well, and also give them vehicles. We give them brand new vehicles, best teachers year on year. Morale, you've been part of that. 13, the one for late last year, and every year. They thought we were just going to do it for 1 year and stop. For 3 years consistently. And we're beginning to see the effect. At holidays, we also intervene. They have extra lesson curriculums for pupils that are in WAEC, SSS, from year 10, year 11, studies. And you know what? We're beginning to see the results. In 3 years, when we came in, the average percent, now we've crossed 80%.
Wow.
In 3 years, we've crossed 80%. So, including maths and English, we've seen pass in our secondary schools to about 82, 83%. Last year, I think, was about 83, 84%. So we're excited with our interventions. We're beginning to see the effect and impact of it. But one more thing Morayo asked is that what are we doing with tertiary institutions?
Yeah.
For the first time, some of you, I'm sure, went to LASU. Our father, Latif Jakonde, created LASU 40 years ago or so. We've been able to get, 2 additional state tertiary institutions, University of Science and Technology and the University of Education. So Lagos, from 1, has 3 higher.
Your critics say that it's on paper. It's
Hello?
all on paper. That's what they're saying.
That's so unfair. When we have intakes already, when we have vice chancellors, we have the full complements of a university. We've increased our subvention 3-fold and building Senate buildings in the school, 2 new universities as we speak. Brand new Senate buildings.
So the critics have it.
So it's real. And so what we've done is that the ones that are, that are before, they are transiting. So the ones that are maybe in the College of Education before, they are transiting in the next 2 years. So it's running pari passu. We're not dropping them, but it's running pari passu.
Sir, quick one, please, on education. Do you have any intervention concerning the current UK move? So the UK has declared they are going to be taking teachers. And I was saying it on the show that many of our public school teachers are the most qualified for this process they want to do. So I know there should need to be an intervention. What is your short-term intervention to reduce?
It's immediate. You can see, and that's what I said. One, like I'm mentioning, we need to retain them. One, every of our primary school teachers, the plan is for each one of them to have a handheld tablet. When you have your tablet, you can indeed prepare your lesson. It's going to be generic. Once that is done, which is always the difficult things for them to do, they are happy going into those schools to teach. Secondly, at the secondary school levels, we're training them. Every day I sign, requests from TESCOM, which is the Teaching, Service Commission, to train over 1,000 teachers almost on a monthly basis. We're training them. Thirdly, we are giving them, encouragement. If you are the best teacher in a year,
salary going up.
Absolutely. Check it. We're the highest paying. We're the ones, everything that we're the highest paying in the country. And we're giving them brand new cars. If you get to the height of it, and it's an organic system that throws you out. You're the best teacher. We're not giving 1. We're not giving 2. We're giving 13 vehicles in primary, in secondary schools. So there, for 3 years consistently, I see my secondary school having brand new. The idea is not, to just throw prices at people. It's to encourage others. It's to say that you will be identified and you'll be encouraged, right? And so it's
let me throw if you want to.
Our fans are greeting you on Twitter and Facebook.
Thank you.
Johnson says, say what you want. Babajide Olushola Sanwo-Olu is competent. He knows his onions. And you can really catch him off guard. And Cold Funky says, that's questions. I'm from River State. I always tell people I wish our governor was Jide Sanwo-Olu. And the only governor with brain cells and all of that.
Okay, let me take my own question.
He has this one. Says he's not an APC supporter, but he's a trained enthusiast. He's voting you for second term if you can assure the completion of the blue and red lines. He says he's seen the work, but he wants to.
So maybe I should mention that for them. Thank you. So we've completed the phase 1 of the blue line. And the news that I'm going to pass on is Mr. President will be coming later in the month to come and officially commission the blue line. So the blue line, the phase 1 of it is from Mile 2, close to you, to Marina, right? There's 5 stations on that corridor, and we've finished it, completed. The new trains, we've seen one, additional trains are in the ports that they're going to be cleared this way, additional trains, and you see them before the end of the month. So we're ready. It's a rail that is running on electricity, which is for climate change, Miriam.
Take light too.
We have IPP. We have IPP, so it's going to be dedicated. Air conditioned, everything. And it's an intercity train, meaning that it understands that we have load, we can carry load. It's open, you can walk in, walk out very quickly. That's phase 1. When President, we're starting the phase 2 again, and the phase 2 is from Mile 2 all the way to Okokomaiko. The beauty of that one is in the middle as well. The right of way is there. And it will be done quicker and faster because it's not elevated like the first one, so red line for me, it's even the one that my heart beats a lot for because of the level of infrastructure that the Red Line will do. And we will complete it. By the way, we've got only about 147 days to May 29 this year, which is the thing that I signed with Lagosians. We will finish it in our first, yes, we will finish the Red Line. The Red Line is from Oyinbo all the way to Agbado. Agbado is actually in Ogun State. We extended it because we wanted to catch all of the traffic to make it viable.
Why can't people near Agbado?
No. It's Lagos West. It's Agege, Ikeja, Agege, you know, Ayola Koka, Dopemu. It's an old rail corridor. So we built our own with the federal government, you know, going Lagos, Ibadan. Right, so they will leave from Ebute Metta, go straight to Agege and get out of Lagos. But we will start from Oyinbo. We do, you know, Ebute Metta, we do Yaba, we do Ayola Koka, we do Iju, then we do
Okay,
Agbado.
sir, let me throw a few more questions for you.
It's a whole stretch.
Our governor is on ground, you know exactly every corner. But also one of the things I admire about you is, you know, for people where we build houses without fire exits and things like that, you put it into consideration. You rolled out about 62 fire trucks recently, you know, and all this infrastructure, whether we like it or not, there'll always be health and safety concerns. So concerning the trains now, the Blue Rail, what are the measures you've put in place? You've explained to us with the waterways, the emergency interventions. What would be that for the rail lines?
For the rail lines. Okay, so thank you. Inside the trains themselves, they have CCTV cameras, right? We're not going to rush to start operations next week or next 2 weeks. We're going to ensure that we can carry you free of charge. We'll invite YourView one day. You go with others on how you embark, how you disembark, how you use the turnstiles, how you use your card, and you're able to feel the entire terminal. It's an experience. You come into a station terminal, it's supposed to be an experience, you know, where you have cafes and, you know, and viewing centers and all of it. So all of that will be installed with CCTV cameras. The track itself are going to be wall off, right? So you don't have anybody on the track for whatever reason. So inside the terminal buildings, there will be CCTV. They're going to have their own local security. Inside the trains themselves, there will be security, you know, and you need to have a turnstile to be able to go to the platforms. You know, the platform is where you are embarking, and it's elevated. All the platforms are elevated, you know, so you need to get in, get out, know how to in and ingress and outgress. All of that we will do for a month or two, so that there's a lot of advocacy, you know, market women, children, you know, civil society groups, civil servants. People will come in and have an experience, you know, free, so that they understand it, have a feel of it before, so that you're not just coming to, and so people will train you and teach you.
Let's talk about health, because I would like to move into health. There's a lot of, want to talk about education?
I want to stay there. Before we go into, it cuts across everything you're doing. We spend so much money on commissioning projects, sir. I've said it on the show before, that we can't be putting budget towards commissioning in an economy that is struggling. And as rich as Lagos is, I know that we still need funds. So I'm just, on behalf of all of us that have complained behind the scene, that can we reduce the commissionings that we do? Like, we know you're working, but we don't need to spend money doing elaborate ribbon cutting processes.
So I'll give you a simple example. In one day, offline, we commissioned 15 brand new schools building. And I did not need to leave, you know, a venue for me to go around and go and come. And it was the teachers and the pupils in those schools that did the commissioning themselves. And I was in one location, in one single location, just with a few of us there. And we commissioned 15 projects in one full sweep. Like I mentioned to you, right, there are several things that have been, there's several roads that we never even got to commission that people have started using, you know. So we went to Ishuti the other day, Ijevu, in fact, we don't need to. People are beginning, we just want the citizens to understand and take over this asset and use it well.
I'd like to see you come commission at least the completion of the Tedimo Road. That road has been overawarded. I live there. I use that road.
You know, it's such an interesting road because what had happened, you know, I was telling you offline, is we've had a bridge failure there before. And truthfully, we needed to do it and do it well, right? So the bridge component is now being completed. It's the road infrastructure that we need to finish, you know, and I can assure you it will be completed and it will be done. I'm doing for you Ishefun, Afro Media, all the way to Erin.
I'm not going that far.
Well, because there are people that are there. There are people that are there as well.
Let me talk about one of the problems we have in Lagos State is that if it costs 10 million naira to do something, Lagos State will say it's 100 million naira. that they are chopping half the money. Everybody says, it's not the real value. That yes, you're celebrating Link Bridge, you're celebrating 3rd Milan, 4th Milan Bridge, you're celebrating all these things. But the real was the cost. The real cost.
Mariah,
What do you say?
and you're right, because a lot of people, we need to educate people.
Yes.
Lagos is below the sea level in terms of, the texture. And so the simple question you ask them is that, how much does it cost to do a 3-story building in Lagos and do a 3-story building in Auchi, for example, or in Oyo State, for example? The amount of infrastructure that you put underground, the amount of deck on pile that you put on our bridges, the amount of rigid pavement that we do on our road, it's not compared to almost any part of it because of its soil structure that we have. I just mentioned to you that the bridge first failed. It's because of the structure of the soil. Now we're doing beyond 2-story, and you're not doing short piles, you are doing 45 meters pile. You are doing 38 meters pile.
So
just
that's
to do a 3-story. That's what you put underneath. Is much more. If you're doing your 2-story building, if you want to, your contractor will tell you, you need to do German floor, you need to do exactly. It's because of our structure. And that's what it is. For me to do a road, apart from skyfying, the level of compaction that you need to do, the amount of excavation that you need to do for it not to fail, right? It's enormous. Yeah. If you look at the road from Osborne going towards 3rd Milan Bridge, that whole stretch is a bridge. It's a bridge. It's a bridge. So a lot of people don't know. And that's the flip side of climate change in Lagos. It's because of the terrain of where we found ourselves.
This is a very good explanation because I'm one of the critics that is always shouting that.
So you see it in your estate development. See the amount of money they will say if you want to do
internship now. So
exactly.
I have another. We'll take the questions of online after our break because I wanted to finish up with the core questions for you.
Let's go to
health. I have another theme on health. I want to talk on health, but another thing your critics say, I'll talk to you.
So
let me go to health.
Go to
health. Nima and I, we use General Hospital.
Good, fantastic.
Because we gave birth. We gave birth in a General Hospital. You cannot take it from me.
Absolutely.
I used it.
So I stayed in a General Hospital for 6 months.
So we cannot take our experience. Okay, but to the point. It is still, and I understand that the facility is being overworked, but I feel that I want to find out from you.
Yes.
What would you highlight as your key health achievements in the past 4 years? What are the improvements that you're most proud of in the health sector? And what would you do to make it even better for those that use the public health system?
Okay. So without sounding like a broken record, in my view, during COVID, alive. And you see, we tend to forget.
Yeah, we do.
We tend to forget where we're coming from. If indeed Lagos carried 50% of the total burden of this country, and as a government, we're able to proactively put in place structures that kept us all safe throughout that period. We had 4 levels of spikes, and what the whole world said was going to happen to us didn't happen, right? A bit of credit needed to come there. And it slowed us down in some other areas, right? But that's it. And we're able to continue to lead the country throughout that space. So that is something that I need to give, not credit to me, but the entire health family that I have, all of the frontline health workers, the doctors, the nurses, the interventionists, all of them rised up. At the time, some of them were living, in rented hotels for a week, for 2 weeks. They were not going home because we didn't want them to even infest their family. They were all so that for us, it's a pandemic, is a generational solution that nobody can take away from us. That's one. Secondly, in terms of specifics, infrastructure is important, right? We've built 4 additional hospitals, right? In Etiosa, 110 bed. In Badagry, 110 bed. In Ekpe, 110 bed. In Alimosho, 110 bed. I mean, real, that we've commissioned, handed over, brand new hospitals. No, I'm coming, man. I'm coming, man. So these are things that, we have new ones that we're building, and we're taking it to another level. We're building the biggest children's hospital in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa, the New Mercy Children's Hospital, on 10 floors. We're building, opposite you at Ojo, I'm building a brand new general hospital for you by Ojo Cantonment. It's about 60, 50.
I thought it was a
It's an
That's
hospital.
the criticism.
Oh, that's the criticism.
I wanted to criticize you because you opened another primary health care center in Amuo.
I am
Like a general
Where is
hospital.
Ojo, people?
Ojo, right
What are we going
opposite
to
by
do?
the...
Whether it's Ojo, it's close.
It's there.
It's
by
better
the-
than going all the way to Alimosho.
Absolutely. By the Army Cantonment. That's your Ojo General
So
Hospital.
that place,
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
So we're doing that.
I wish I had not said. I wanted to criticize.
But wait, let's
go back.
So in terms of also other soft ins, you know, look at it. We're the only ones that have kept our doctors all the while when resident doctors were on strike. Not one day were we on strike. It's because we're able to sit with them and solve. I have, you know, the best, you know, residency care center in Lasut now. I have rooms for not just, I mean, for house officers, for residents. We're building doctors' quarters in Bagara. We're building doctors' quarters in Lasut. We're ensuring that they can indeed feel good coming to work. For health, it's one of the only places that I have what we call an automatic replacement. If a doctor leaves, they don't need my approval to replace them automatically. We're the highest employer in the medical field in the entire country. Lasut today is the best tertiary health facility that we have in the country. And so for critical care, we're not joking about it. These are very expensive things that we need to continue to keep up with. But we know that the solution, some people will say, is that it should be one health, you know, coverage. What are we doing with primary health? So that people don't need to go to Lasut. We've built additional, we have a design for our primary health. We've built additional 15 that we're building, you know, on primary health.
It's one thing to build sites, another thing to equip. It's another thing to have the right... Yes, go ahead.
So,
Want to add to that?
So I want to add to that. So I hear what you say, and maybe infrastructure, we can see that. But regular Lagosians will tell you you're going to the hospital, and there's so many issues that you're dealing with. I mean, you're the highest employer of doctors, but you're also the highest jackpot doctors coming, you know, from...
Not necessary. Go do the numbers.
Okay. We need a system that sort of checkmates or check what these hospitals are doing. When Lagosians go into hospitals, are they getting the care that they're supposed to get? Are they getting the drugs? Are there beds? Is there proper care for patients? Because you would have Lagosians tell you some really sad experiences.
So Lagosians will say, people will say, but let's the fact also speak for itself, right? We're in a system where we don't have a foolproof, you know, citizens' data, where we can say for ourselves how many people come from Ebonyi State or come from different part of the country to come and receive health care here. I know the numbers because when you go to Lasut in the morning, at 6:30 in the morning, the whole place is filled up.
Crowd.
And when you go find out, you realize that a lot of them came by. That's what you see. Miriam, so what we know is that if we can manage that influx, then we can do a lot better job, especially if it is predictable. But in all of our general hospitals now, if you are on our care list, we are expecting you, we know how to better prepare for you. The number speaks for itself. I've got over 30 general hospitals. Nobody has any number close to that. Nobody. And like I said to you, our doctors, I'm still the only one paying full employment for resident doctors. 100% of their examination fees, year on year.
All right,
year on year.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, we'll open our phone lines to hear from Lagosians and take some message on our Twitter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Every week, in partnership with you a documentary series on environmental issues affecting Nigeria's amazing biodiversity, from climate change, air pollution, and wildlife conservation. We will be traveling across Nigeria to give you on-the-ground report of the issues affecting our environment. It airs every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe.
Thanks for staying with us. We're going to open our phone lines. You can call us on 08127053687, 090766948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so I wanted to talk about another things your critics always say. Because they see that you are a huge supporter of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's coming into office. And they talk about these blueprints that Lagos State, blueprints, they blueprint from Fashola, from this person, they went this. I said, where is this blueprint, Morayo? Have you your own eyes seen the blueprint? He said, does it must be a document, or it's not just an ideal, an ideology that's being passed from people. But could you tell us, why do people give Asiwaju credit for a lot of things we see in Lagos? Is there a real connection?
Okay.
No, they said Lagos already existed before he was governor. So why is he being given credit for building Lagos?
Thank you very much. And you see, these are, instructive learning point that we need to put forward. So I joined him with all sense of humility 20 years ago. I was a general manager in my bank with a corner office. November 2002, precisely, so about 20 years ago. And we had criticized government 3-4 years, 2-3 years before then. And I had that real opportunity. I appointed a special. So from very first day, I was in his cabinet when I joined in 2002. And I saw things firsthand, for me, even before the end of his first tenure. So I'm a living witness. And it's not anything that we're blabbing about. It's something that we know. So what happened at that time, right? We set up documents called the seed document, so which are Lagos State Economic Development document. We also have what we call a 10-point agenda, right? It's like what I call a team's agenda now. 10-point agenda had, revenue generation, transportation, public this, public that. All of that were encapsulated in the last seeds and in the seed document, which are economic documents. Well, we set up and started the Mbeti document and becomes a working paper that you can live with moving forward, right? So in that is only 8 years as government, as governor. I worked with him closely for at least 5 years. 1 year before the end of his first tenure and the entire 4 years of his second tenure. So I was commissioner for economic planning. So I was part of all of those documents that were developed. Lamata, for example, that we talked about, it's not out of place. We had that robust, he set up Lamata with the World Bank. In 2002, I was one of the people that first recruited the first set of people that worked in Lamata. It was a World Bank, one of the best World Bank, transport infrastructure, agencies that anybody can see in the world. So those are, and it was the beginning of democracy, 1999. Coming from a military rule where it's not a government of inclusiveness. Now starting up in 1999 with a government that have include the citizens, listen to them, have an engagement, more like an all-inclusive role. So that was how that blueprint was developed. And they had like a 20-year development plan, which, of course, BRF also improved upon, took away some, add on to it, Ambode, similar thing. Ourselves, that's really what it means. And because there's also been continuity in all of these things, we were able to see what the challenges of previous government is, what are the things you need to take on and use very quickly, and have, a springboard movement into your own government. So that's one of the things that have helped us. And so we give him that credit because he was the one that was able to bake the first, retinue of very intelligent, people that have
Let me take this call. Yakub, are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
Our first caller of the year.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thanks to you. Because of the time, good morning, Mr. God. Because Lagos is working fully. Because I can say that in my area here, as I'm talking to you, a lot of streets is under construction and like almost 10 at a time. I've never seen that before, but I want to have a controversial question, and then I wouldn't like Mr. Governor to bend that answer. You should go straight to that answer and give it to us so that you know. The question is this, sir. If you are moving in Lagos State as a commercial board, you will see all these, are you listening to me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. This NURCW, we want to know all this money they were collected from the commercial board because it takes a lot of money. Where this money is going to, where are they remit the money to? Are they remit this money to Lagos State Government Board or they are paying the money to National Board? We want to know because they collect a lot of money without not using it for anything.
Okay, that's a fair question. Let me let you answer.
Well, I mean, so you're right. There are issues that we need to resolve, with, the transportation sector. And you see, we've started. At some point, we actually prescribed them, right? And that's why we set up, the parking authority so that, indeed, we can sit with them and we're beginning to get a lot more mileage than what it was 6-8 months ago, right? We're not fully out of it yet because it's a system that has been in existence for decades. So you're not going to one day just sleep and wake up and it's all changing. They sit with us now, and Odumosu, who was a former, CP, right, heads that parking authority, right, with the former permanent secretary in Ministry of Tourism, and so these are very seasoned civil servants that are sitting with them and ensuring that these are the rules of engagement in which you need to get cleared up. And they'll tell us, okay, give us 1 week, give us 1 month for us to change all of these things. So these are citizens that we also need to understand that they are stakeholders in some sort, right? But we need to be able to bring bear, right, some level of organization in the things that they do. And we're getting around it, and it's getting improved. Okay. Part of the things that we see is also the level of recklessness that also happens with their national body. A lot of the money are actually shipped to Abuja at their national body, which is honestly, which is the truth.
And money staying home.
And we're saying to them, what are you also using these interventions for? How are you retraining your drivers, your conductors, for them to be best behaved, right? How are you going to refleet your vehicles? Exactly. Ensure that these vehicles are not rickety, they're not run down, they're not chain people. You don't go on a bus and you come out, with one leg, cut off and rest of. So these are the conversations, and we're helping them to be able to. Drivers? You need to include them in something. So there are other transport companies that are private transport companies, right, that are actually the ones, running this.
Okay, let me take Yakub, or not Yakub, Miss Hassan from Lekki. Hassan, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir.
Happy New Year. To the executive members and the executive governor of Lagos.
Yes, sir.
Let me congratulate you first, Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
Thank you.
For taking the bull by the horn, by fighting two major works in the grand scale, EndSARS and COVID. Congratulations for your performance.
Thank you.
Secondly, Mr. Governor, we saw the infrastructure lines going on in Lagos State. Under your leadership, your predecessor, and the first predecessor, Mr. Al-Hadi, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, your mentor, the mentor of Nigeria, a progressive governor, a leader, a father, and a communicator.
Hassan, do you have a question? You don't have time more.
Here is this. Mr. Governor, please, you have some other small things to do for us.
Yeah.
You think this inner road in Lekki area need to be looked into.
Okay.
Come to Modi Road, come to all these settlement areas, stretching from Abuja.
Okay.
So I have.
Okay, so we got the point. So I go
Yeah,
be all
you
the
want
inner
all
roads.
the inner roads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just Lekki, across the state.
No,
what are we doing?
Inner routes generally.
Yeah.
So as we speak, we're working with the local government first. We're doing 114 inner roads. With the 57 local, we said to them, let's take 2, right? And let's help you jointly to fix them. That's one. The Public Works Bureau, because Lagos has over 10,000, roads in one form or the other. The Public Works Bureau at any point in time have about 200 roads that they are trying to fix or patch. The Lekki, the challenge there is also the level of use, and the amount of, development that is happening there. And so one of the things that we plead with people, when you fix those roads and there's another construction coming, by the time they bring all of the trucks and the rest of it, and they are piling, granites and all of the things onto the drainages, it gets blocked. These are some of the challenges that we have to be able to do because they are not completely built up yet. So each time when you go back there, you see, somebody says, yeah, they are culprits, So you see that they will have tilted, all of their gravel and sand, block the drainage, and you have to come and excavate and clean them up again. These are some of it, and they destroy some of the drainage.
We have to run out of time. Let me let Mariam jump in.
Projects and what you do for many, top personalities. I remember when you first came in, when you said that you prefer to be referred to as Mr. Governor. And also many times people will talk about the fact that you're being controlled by someone, or and here we are talking to you, and if you see the messages also on social media, the response is, this is a man who's on ground, who knows what he's doing. So I would like to know what motivates you why do you do what you do, and why do you do it so well? Is it because you have to answer to someone, or what is it that motivates you personally to do the work you're doing in Lagos State?
You know, it's a position of humility. It's a position in which you need to be grateful to God, right? Given my very humble background, right? When you have the unique, rare opportunity to serve over 20 million, rising sign of modern Africa, I think you wake up every day thankful to God with the opportunity, asking God to give you every energy that you require to be able to serve them, right? And so for me, it's really around understanding what the social contract with my citizens are. Let me tell you, today we have 147 days to the end of our first tenure. I've done almost 90% of my time. I count it every day. Every day I review and I ask myself, how well have I done? So for me, it's a measurement that I give myself every day. Out of 1,460 days, we've done about 1,300 and something. We've got about 147, 147. Yes. So with that level of measurement, I'm not waiting, to the end of it to say, what did I do? So I understand that you have a responsibility to your citizen, a will, a commitment to put on the table. I'll give you a simple example. There's some telephones that I see in the morning, I get scared to pick. Why? Because the guys on the other side are not calling to tell me good morning. They're telling to tell me that a container just fell off. Yeah. They're coming to tell me that there's a fire incident. And I need to get up, I need to give instructions, I need to encourage them, I need to give them a clear instruction of how we need to clear and deal with that issue. And these are some of the things that continue to keep you going.
Let me get a few comments from
so, Millie is talking about the Lagos-Abeokuta road. Yeah. So they say I'm selfish for focusing on my side. Yes. They want to know why the road from Meron to Ahmadiyya inwards Abeokuta is not finished. Said it's in a bad state. Said that there's also an abandoned pedestrian bridge at Kola bus stop in Alagbado. What are you...
Okay, well, it's very specific. I probably won't know where Kola bus stop is in Alagbado. But I'll tell you, 2 weeks ago, we still went to commission, 2 critical roads in Alimosho to the border of the state. The Ishegun Camp David Road. No, this is a 7.8-kilometer road. Major artery, dual carriageway. Ishuti Road, 3.7 kilometer, dual carriageway, up until the border of Ogun State. These are major inner roads. And I was still there 2 weeks ago, right? In the first 2 years, we commissioned 31 roads at Ojokoro, which is also a border town.
Those are
with
Lagos-Abeokuta road is a straight.
So Lagos-Abeokuta
road is along that.
Exactly. Lagos is a federal road. This is a road in which the Honourable Minister for Works. Believe me, and I believe that there is part of the things that
let me take this call because I have very little time left. Mr. Adeyemi from Ijushaga really wants to talk to you. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
So many people.
Hello, good morning.
You're live. You go ahead, Adeyemi.
Yes, I want to thank Mr. Governor for all that he's doing. I follow him closely on Instagram, and I see all the updates of all the projects. It keeps updating us about things, the projects done in Lagos State, the milestones and everything. I am really proud of Governor Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much for all you do. And secondly, too, because areas like Epe are opening up, the roads are being built, it has given us middle and low-income earners the ability to invest in real estate. Thank you so much, Mr. Governor.
Some messages. Omolajo Olatunji says, I'm highly impressed by Mr. Governor's articulated responses to questions and policy issues. He's far more composed and has a firm grip of everything happening around him. Truly, I'm happy and would campaign for his re-election. Well done, sir.
You see, you can't come on YourView and I don't ask you about family because that's what our show is about. Yes, we do politics, governance, but I have to ask about your wife. I mean, I've had an opportunity to speak to her. She's quiet, reserved. She hardly speaks. Like first ladies, I'm in charge. She's hardworking. She's a professional. She dots her I's and cross her T's. I mean, you can't take anything past her. Say she'll bring your file. She will look at it. But tell us about your wife. We don't.
Thank you. Well, that's one part that it's always been very well. We're in public, so we cannot be public, right? I mean, I'm grateful to her. Right, she's a woman that has sort of like complemented the role that God has given us now, very, very, with all sort of dignity, right? Like you said, she's a medical doctor herself. She loves kids a lot. I wish she would have 7 kids. I mean, you know.
How many do you have?
You know, I'm a father of the state. I have children that call me their dad. So if I go all and say there's only 3 or 4,
get in trouble.
I'll get in trouble with them, you know. So let all of them feel that I'm still their dad, even outside of government, you know. So, but you know, for her, it's really about putting everything she has also learned as a lady, you know, to put it to work, right? And I see the complementary role that she brings on board. She gives you your space to work, but she, like you said, she's very detailed. She's extremely very detailed, and she's someone that you need to take very seriously. You know, she's not the person with a lot of, you know, airs around, and I think it just speaks to, you know, the humbleness, you know, of what our family values are. And we're indeed just very, very grateful, you know, for a time like this that we're here to serve the state. Right, so I want to thank her, you know, publicly for the support, you know, and for her time, and I wish her all the very, very best as well.
Oh,
right.
Okay, so we have to go ahead, talk. We have to wrap up, but I have 2 questions for you.
Which is go ahead, talk.
Go ahead, talk. Let me let you. Because I thought you didn't have a question. Go ahead, please.
I do. And I'd like you to address, because we've had. Maria said we have some people saying things, and it would be wrong for us not to be able to let you clear air on that. There are several times people have made it look like you're implementing these decisions that you're not the one making those decisions. They make it look like, oh, because you have this very calm man and you're always listening.
Instructing a puppet.
Yes, that somebody is instructing you. You're doing what they want. That Asiwaju is running Lagos. You know, we've heard that over and over
So I
again.
can answer very simply. You know, one of the strongest points of a leader, right, is people to underrate you. It's people to think. Right? I mean, that's, and you don't have to be in people's face to get it done. All you have to do is roll off your sleeves and get the job done. And check it. Integrity is what I live with. As a treasurer in a bank, my word is my bond. I give commitments and I keep to those commitments. I say I'll finish something in December. I will do everything to ensure that I finish it in December. You know, by the way, Asiwaju has moved on to Abuja for the past 6 years. For the past 6 years. He lived 85% of his time in Abuja. I've not spoken to him in a week. In a week. But a father is a man that I respect personally, and I cannot take it away. So, you know, so people will look for things. But are we keeping our eyes on the ball? Yes. Are we doing the things Lagosians want us to do? Yes.
So do you have such a relationship with BRF?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I still spoke with him 3-4 days ago. He's my leader, he's my boss. He's a Surulere boy like myself. We knew ourselves way back.
What are just chances? Lagos State, some would say, is somewhat fragmented. Like, there are people from different places who are believe in certain parties and other parties. People would think, in the past, we say, oh, it's an APC state, but now people cannot confidently say, are you sure Lagos State is still an APC state?
No, we are confident.
Do you have...
It's an APC state. Okay. And you can see the APC government doing everything to ensure
what
that
are
we get
it.
It's absolutely very bright, extremely very bright. But we'll not leave everything to chance. We will continue to engage people. We will not say that, you know, we're about one side of divide. It's inclusive to ensure that he gives in his very best, right, to every Nigerian that is possible for him to reach out.
I'm so sorry. We'll get to the question about potable water over and over again.
So water is a challenge, and I'll be here to be honest with you. It's true. It's a challenge, and it's because we need to go raise funding that is required to fix it, and it's a lot of money. We're talking about 100 billion, 150 billion. So what are we doing? We have a major water work, you know, in Iju and Adion, right? We're building from what we have now, currently 70 million gallons per day, which is running at less than 50%. Because these are built in 1970s, 1974, 75. But we are currently building a 50 million gallon additional infrastructure that is slowing us down. So once we can do the real big ones, is to do, you know, what we call the transmission, you know, which we need to be the next level of funding that we need to have. You know, it's like power. Once you do generation of water, you need to be able to transmit it, you know, which has to get to all of the nooks and crannies of it. So we're just going to be able to raise crazy finance. But I want to appeal to my citizens and say to them that, you know, relief for water is coming. You know, water people see it as part of the social service. It's gone beyond that. You know, the funding of water is some very creative means, and it's not cheap. It's all
going to be running the second term.
Is it next month?
It's next month, by January.
No, mine is March.
Oh, yours is March.
But I'm involved in February.
Involved in February. So the point is,
yes.
I'd like you to final word to Lagosians. Why should they vote you in? Again, why do you think you are the leader for Lagos?
Well, thank you very much, ladies, and thank you very much for having me. You know, so it's really not about me alone. It's about all of us. It's about what we believe, what our future should look like. It's about what kind of legacy should we be leaving, behind. And I want to say that in the last, 3 years and about 7 months, it's been a unique opportunity experience for me. Like I said, I've done about 89% of my time, right? But the beauty of it is that we've kept faith with all of the things, that we said we're going to do under the team's agenda. We didn't have time to talk about tourism, about security, about housing, where we've done over 17 projects, about all of the routes that we've done. We will not say that we've scored everything, but we will say to you that with all sense of responsibility, we've earned our bill. We've dealt with, year on year, we keep making 85% of our budget performance. We've doubled our budget size in 3 years, even in a COVID rundown environment. We're doing roads in almost every part of the city concurrently.
Yes.
Concurrently, we're building these things, concurrently, and so we have so much energy to still give on. And so what we're asking for is, you see, don't let there be distractions. Yes, it's politics. Yeah. So people will say that, he's this, he's that, he collects this and all of that. And people will show you pictures that are 10, 15 years old. It's all politics. But I want to say to all of them, let's join hands. See a train that is moving. Join the train. And because we have an opportunity to do this quicker, better, and faster for another 4 years.
They said 2 hours won't cut it.
Oh, absolutely. So we hope to bring you, because it took 3.5 years to bring you.
Oh, my God.
But I will see if hopefully when we'll try to bring you back again very soon, hopefully to get more from. But thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you on our show today. That's all we can take on today's show. We'll be speaking with the governor, one of our favorite governors. Yeah, number 1, and I think it is number 2. But yes, from my own list. But it was fantastic having our governor on the show today. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much for a fantastic day. And Happy New Year to our viewers again. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
What a way to start the year.
Thank you.
My name is Femi Adebayo. This holiday season, StarTimes is taking us to a better level. You can step up your